Okay, hi you guys. I hope this angle is okay. I have a blanket here on the floor and I'm going to start pulling palettes. So this is going to be the start of my declutter series. I don't know, I think I might just do palettes and then maybe everything else mashed together. Not sure if I'm going to break it up. If you hear noise in the background, my kids are watching something on the iPad while they're having a snack. And I'm going to try to get this done here in the living room, so sorry about the noise. And I'm also washing in the laundry room next door. So you might hear the dryer and stuff on. So I'm gonna start placing some palettes here and we're gonna go through them. If you're new to my channel, hi, my name is Janelle. I'm usually showing my face and not my boobs, gut, and thighs. So sorry about that. So I do have a stack of palettes here. Hopefully you can somewhat see them. Okay, so these are palettes that I was frankening, so that's why they were already out. And then I have stuff in drawers. So we're gonna go through this first. This is just a Z palette that I have with some depotted shadows and stuff, so that of course is staying. Next we have the Natasha Denona Tropic palette. Like I said, I was using this to franken some shadows, so I took some out of these 4 shadows, and this one was frankened a long time ago. Sorry if you're not able to see it. And then the top rows and stuff are not, because I actually use those neutral shades. So I paid $65 for this a while ago, about 2 years ago. So yes, I'm going to keep my Natasha Denona palette. So I'll put my keep pile over here and then we'll start a declutter pile on the other side. Next we have this Wet n Wild My Melody palette. So I was using this to franken. I think my daughter would really enjoy this palette, so I'm going to pass this along to her so she can play with color. She's only 10 years old. Next, we have this Venus XS by Lime Crime Solid Gold palette. My boyfriend got this for me about 2 Christmases ago. So I am going to keep this palette. I was using these 2 shades to franken. To make other shadows, but this is beautiful. I like the beautifulness with these shiny shades, so I'm going to keep this because my boyfriend bought it and I never throw anything he buys me away. I forgot to mention that these products will either go to my cousin and her kids. She has 2 daughters. I think they're like around 14-15 years old. So they can get use out of these things. And then when it comes to my other declutter, my friend Gabby, she asked for some lip products. So and then my daughters like to play with makeup that I don't use, so that's where all this is going. None of this is going into the trash. I'm gonna find homes for these products. Do you guys like my baby Wolverine shirt? For my son's birthday, I had these shirts made, and sorry if I'm braless, you guys. So I love these shiny shades from that Lime Crime palette, so I'm keeping these. Next we have the Tarte Dream Big palette. I got this in an Ipsy a few years ago and I don't ever touch it. I use these 2 shades to franken because they were like creamy matte shades, or satiny shades, just like a skin tone color. And then these other colors I really don't touch, so I'll pass this along to either my cousin or my daughters. So we have the Urban Decay, and this is the Electric palette. I've had this since about 2017. My boyfriend bought it for me when it was being discontinued and we got it on a sale. And I was using some of these shades to franken. But these 2 shades right here, Slow Burn and Savage, are like my 2 favorite out of there. Sometimes I use this Peacocky Green. These greens aren't performing as well anymore, so I'm going to use this until it's not... I'm going to use this until it expires, and I'll just keep it in like a trunk with just nostalgic makeup that I keep just to remember, but not actually use. So I'm going to keep this in my collection now for these 2 shades, and then later I will declutter. Next we have this Subculture palette by ABH, and I'm going to keep it meanwhile, but I think once I get I think once I purchase the green gold palette by Natasha Denona, then I'll get rid of this. But for now, I want to keep these yellowy shades and these green shades just for now. And I think I panned these shades and these shades, and then all these are from Frankenstein. So I don't really get too much use out of this. I got this on sale from Marshall's for like $30 a few years ago. So this is on its way out anywho, but we're gonna keep for now. Next we have this Melt Vita palette. This is a stunning palette. So I was Frankenstein from these shades, and then these middle shades I haven't really touched, and then this red shade was in a project pan. So I'm working on this palette. Hopefully I can get some more use on this one, and if I have other colors like this in my collection, maybe I'll declutter in the future. But for now, this is pretty new. I got this maybe like in February on sale at Sephora. So this is a keep. Okay, next we have this drawer full of like mini eyeshadow palettes. So we're gonna go through this drawer together. Okay, hopefully that's a good angle. So we're gonna start in this. This is actually a face palette, so I'm gonna take this out. So this cream and sugar palette, I think I can declutter. This was an Elf quad for $4. It's not the best quality, and then I have some Charlotte Tilbury ones coming, so those are better quality. So we're gonna actually get rid of this palette. And I can also get rid of this pumpkin pie one. It came shattered, so I don't need this in my collection. And then I have a brand new one, still bubble wrap, that came in as a replacement. So I'm actually going to keep this to give as a Christmas gift. I know someone who would really enjoy this new one, and then my kids or my cousin's kids can play with this one. And then for now, I think I'm keeping the rose water. So I'm probably going to keep the Berry Bad one until I get the Mesmerizing Maroons by Charlotte Tilbury. I want to purchase that palette. That's on my list. So as soon as I get that, I will replace this one. And I'm able to declutter that. But for now, I do have some shades like this, but I actually enjoy this quad, so I'm keeping. Next, we have the Huda Beauty Obsession Mauves palette. So this one looks like this, and I think I'm going to hold on to this one. I used this one not too long ago, and I think that I'm going to hang on to this until I purchase that Mesmerizing Maroons, because then I'll have those tones. So I'm going to hang on. I am actually keeping the Mauve Obsessions. What is this called? The Petite Pro 3 by Viseart. However you want to pronounce it. And this is what this palette looks like. For me, the mattes were the standout and the shimmers were a little underwhelming. I like a real blinding look to it, so I'm going to keep this for a little while to get a little bit more use out of it, since I did pay for it. I got it on sale during a Boxy pop-up, so it's not that big of a deal, but I'm going to keep it for now, and then later I'm probably gonna declutter. Next, I have my Charlotte Tilbury Exaggerize Bigger Brighter Eyes palette. So this is what this one looks like. It's a real gorgeous palette. I really like this pop shade right here. It's really pretty. So I'm going to keep this palette. Next, we have another palette that I picked up last January. This is the ABH Norvina palette. I know this one has been on sale for like a while. I don't know if it's still available. I actually hit pan on this shade after a month of using this palette. I have dips in most of the shades. So yeah, I really enjoy this palette, and I think it's a good color for one. I no longer support ABH, so I won't be purchasing from them in the future, but I am going to keep this until I can no longer use it. So I love it. Next palette here, I have the Lime Crime Venus XS Rose Gold palette, and this is what this one looks like. My boyfriend purchased this one for me. I don't know if I want to get rid of it because I don't get rid of anything he purchases just because it pains me to do so. Here are the shades right there. I do have a ton of those shades in my collection. I'm gonna hold on to it. If I don't use it within the next 6 months, at least 2 times, then I'll get rid of it. But for now, I'm keeping this because I still own like all the makeup that my boyfriend has ever bought me.
Mommy, we should do that one for Thanksgiving.
That would be a great idea, baby. Next, we have these Frozen palettes. I have the Queen Elsa and then the Anna palette, and there's hair on it. So, so here is the inside of the Elsa palette, and I like this shade right here. I actually really love glitters, so I know a lot of people are not like a fan of pressed glitters. You just have to really like work it into the skin, and then that's how you're able to like get a nice effect. So yeah, I'm gonna keep this for now because I haven't gotten too much use out of it. I purchased it at the end of last year. Too much use out of this palette, and it's really pretty. I don't know if you guys can see those colors there. So I'm gonna try to get more use out of that one. If I don't, during my next declutter, I will give it to my daughters. So I do have this Anna palette, and this is what this palette looks like. And the colors are very fall and beautiful, so I don't know why I don't use this. My daughter dug her finger into this one, so I didn't hit pan in that glitter, but she was just rubbing her finger into it. And that gold flake right there, that's that gold shade. I like these 2 mattes, so yeah, this is just beautiful, and I need to get use out of this. So this is going to be on my list of things to start using more. The Anna palette by ColourPop. Okay, next we have this Natasha Denona mini retro palette. I've had this for a few months now, and I really enjoy it. I love making a really green look out of this. You can get a light pinky look as well.
Mommy, I want the pop.
No. So I'm going to keep my Natasha Denona little mini retro palette. So we have the Pat McGrath Eye Ecstasy Sublime eyeshadow palette, and this comes with 5 shades and looks like this. So I got compliments when I wore this the last time. I've used it about 3 or 4 times, and I quite enjoy it. So I'm going to keep this palette and use it some more. I have our Alamar Cosmetics palette. I got this in BoxyCharm a few years ago. I really only like it for this shade on top. I mean, the other ones are fine, but I'm a shimmer girl, so if there's a good shimmer, I mean, like, come on. I might depot that green and get rid of the rest of the palette. So I'm actually going to declutter this Alamar Cosmetics. What is it called? Reina del Caribe Volume 1 eyeshadow palette. Okay. I've already panned everything in it, and then there's some Franken shadows in here. So this is an Urban Decay palette, and I'm keeping this for nostalgia and sentimental reasons. So I love my brother so much, so I'm keeping this. Next we have the Sailor Moon Pretty Guardian Pressed Eyeshadow Palette by ColourPop. So we're keeping this guy. I love these tones. Oops. Press that shade back in there, but these are beautiful shades for the spring, and I really love this palette. It came out earlier this year, and I'm going to get more use out of it, and I think it's just a wonderful palette. If you can still get your hands on it, I highly recommend. Next we have these 2 palettes. I love my Venus 3 palette. It's purpley pinky mauve tones. I've hit pan on 2, so I'm going to keep this palette. Next we have this Wondrous Seascape palette by Wonder Beauty, and I love this palette for these foiled shades. They're like really freaking beautiful. I'm going to show you them.
Mommy, I like this one. You did to me.
So as you guys can see, those swatch gorgeously. They're highly reflective, so I'm keeping this palette for now. Maybe in the future I'll declutter just because I have so much makeup, but for now I'm going to love and enjoy these. I have this Candy Castle palette by ColourPop. I was a little disappointed. These look kind of ashy and gross on my eyes. The mattes are just like okay, so this is like a dud for being ColourPop. So there's hits and misses with ColourPop in their formula. I'm gonna hold on to it for now. If you want this palette, it's like $14.50, I think, on Ulta's website. But for now I'm gonna keep it just to get a little bit more use out of it. But I think in my next declutter I will declutter it because I don't like it too much. But the packaging is very cute. Next we have our MAC Selena palette. This is Me Siento Muy Excited eyeshadow palette. And these are like beautiful fall tones. And again, I love these shimmery shades. I just love me a good shimmer. You guys see those beautiful tones. Love it, love it, love it. So we're actually going to keep this. Next we have our Violet Voss Essentials 2 palette, and although these are nice, I don't know, let me swatch. Yeah, I'm actually going to pass this palette along just because I have some nice shimmers in my collection. These purples and blues weren't all that great, so I'm going to pass this on. It's pretty empty in here now, so we have like our more medium palettes coming up. So this is the Marc Jacobs Fantasine palette. I got this in a BoxyCharm on sale. So this is what the Fantasine palette looks like by Marc Jacobs. I've used this only a few times since it's more new to my collection. I got it a few months ago. I wore it to the zoo. It was nice. It's a little bit more hard pressed in there, and I don't really like that. I like softer shadows, but I mean it still applies to the eye nicely, but you have to really build it up. So it's easy it's not easy to go overboard, which is nice. So I'm keeping this for now. I'm gonna show it lots of love. Next we have the Urban Decay Wired palette, and I got this on sale this spring, and it has nice beautiful pops of colors for spring. So this is nice, and especially since my Urban Decay palette is getting on the older side, it'd be nice to have this as a kind of like replacement, like have extra bright colors. So yeah, going to be keeping this palette. The Jackie Aina ABH palette, I really love this, and this is kind of similar to the Pat McGrath Bronze Decadence palette, and I really want that eyeshadow palette, but for now I'm fine using this. This is coming up on a year old that I've owned it, so it's still pretty new and I need to show a little bit more love, so I'm going to be keeping the Jackie Aina palette. Ciate Lennon, the Editor palette, there was a lot of duds in here, and the red shadow just fell out. It was actually the one that I wore and got a lot of compliments on. So yeah, I'm not gonna keep this palette, although I love the baby pink aesthetic. It's like super cute packaging, and this red shadow right here is like to die for. But I'm going to actually pass this along because I do have those red tones a lot over and over in my collection, so someone can love and enjoy this palette. So that was it for this drawer. We're going to move on to our next drawer. First palette we have here is a Gingerbread palette by Too Faced. My boyfriend bought this for me a while ago. I have panned some shades here and there, and I really love these two. That's like a look for me, and this one, those three shades are like a beautiful look for me. I wore this green one not too long ago. It's still in working condition, so I'm going to keep using this palette until it expires. So this one will be staying in my collection because Martin bought it for me. We have this Hip Dot Zion palette. I've created some beautiful fall looks with this. This was in our BoxyCharm not too long ago. Although I really do like this, I do have a lot of these tones over and over in my palette, in my collection, so I'm going to actually pass this palette along. Next is the Fenty Beauty Moroccan Spice eyeshadow palette. A lot of people did not like this. I actually really liked it. And again, it's the shimmery shades that I really enjoy. I really enjoy these shimmery shades, so I'm going to keep it for now. I just stay over in this zone. I don't really dabble in here, so I'm going to get use on these shadows. And yeah, for now I'm keeping palettes. I'm going to actually pass this along because I don't use these shades. I have depotted the ones that I use, so I'm going to pass this Tarte Clay Play palette along. The Mercury Retrograde Huda Beauty palette. I don't love every shade in here, but I love this for the spring. I love using these blues and these pinky shades and this glittery shade, that one. But the mattes, like, even though they may look brown or a different color, like, they go on rather pink. Like Huda Beauty always has a pink color story even if it doesn't look like it. So I don't like that all my looks turn out mauvey and pinky. But I'm gonna hold on to this for now because I do really enjoy this. Next, I do have this e.l.f. and J. Kissa to the Rescue palette. I purchased this earlier this spring, and it still has a lot of beautiful colors that I haven't fully gotten its full potential out of, so I'm going to keep this and keep loving on it. Next, we have the Kat Von D 10-year anniversary eyeshadow palette, and I absolutely adore this. I bought this before she was controversial. And this is like my favorite shade. I think once my favorite shade's gone, I can declutter it, but for now I'm gonna get some beautiful neutral and rainbow looks out of it. Next, I have my ABH Norvina which volume is this? Volume 4 palette. My mom knew I really wanted this, so she gave me the money to purchase this, and I got I had a coupon code. I spent some of the money she gave me on some other stuff, but a partial amount of the money was from her, and then I put in a few bucks to buy the rest. So here's what this palette looks like, and my mom is near and dear to me. I love her so much, so I'm never gonna get rid of this palette. Even when it expires and goes bad, I'm going to keep it for sentimental reasons out of my collection in a box where I have my graveyard makeup that died and passed away. So here is this palette, and I'm going to be keeping it. I have this Riviera palette by Anastasia. My sister-in-law Brenda gave this to me, and I don't really use the top shades all that much. I just don't like those tones on me. I do reach for like these 3 neutrals and then sometimes these 2 for a pop of color, and don't really dabble into the purple and brown all too much. But for now, it's barely going on a year that I've had this palette, so I'm going to keep it for now to get a little bit more use out of some of the shades, and then maybe in the future I will declutter. But for now, I'm gonna cherish and love this, so we're going to keep this palette. Next, we have the Coral Crush palette by Violet Voss. It wasn't too long ago that I purchased this palette, and it's beautiful, and I've loved all the looks that I've created with it, so we're gonna keep this for now. I do have these tones over and over in my collection, but it's new and I'm gonna love on it. It's not my favorite formula, but it works really nice, so I'm gonna keep this until I don't have a use for it anymore, and then I can maybe pass it along in a future declutter. Next is this SpongeBob Bikini Bottom Hip Dot palette. I really love SpongeBob as a kid. I would watch it all the time, and it has nice bright colors in here and stuff. I thought I would love it and use it. I tried it once and the quality wasn't all that, and I'm not going to pull for this. I have other rainbow palettes that I enjoy more, so I'm actually going to declutter this, even though I spent maybe like 16 bucks, which is a lot for me to just use it one time and pass it along. But I rather pass it along to someone who can get use out of it than to have it just sitting around. So we're going to pass on the SpongeBob palette to my cousin. So we have the Story Cosmetics Fairy. Okay, this one's called the Little Briar Rose. Although it's very cute, looks Shakespearean, like a book, I wanted to put this on a shelf for display and stuff, but I don't even have a shelf, to be honest, but I am not reaching for it. The colors are nice, but I think I'm going to declutter this one. These are just magnetic palettes, so these guys can stay. Next, I have this Too Faced Natural Mattes. I've used this like twice. I need to get more use out of it because I know mattes can come in handy because I am a shimmer girl. And the times I've used it, I loved it. So I'm actually going to keep this for now. And it's relatively new in my collection. I got it maybe less than a year ago in a BoxyCharm. So we're keeping this palette. Next, we have 2 eyeshadow palettes left in this section. So we have the Urban Decay Naked palette. I purchased this maybe 2 years ago when it went on sale, and it's maybe the fact that maybe it's old or something. The like formula has never been good to me, or maybe I like Urban Decay eyeshadows have never really been all that great because, you know, better formulas have come out since. the Naked release. So I'm going to be keeping this for now just because I paid like 30 bucks for this, and that was on sale when it was being discontinued, and it's like in really good condition. So I'm gonna try to get use out of this. If not, I'm gonna ask my sister-in-law who likes softer looks like this, like that's really her aesthetic. She's like really a big fan of Urban Decay. She actually at one point worked for L'Oreal for a good year or two, and L'Oreal owns Urban Decay, and she would always give me like free Urban Decay makeup and stuff. But this I actually purchased, so I'm gonna see if I can get use out of it. If not, when my cousin Mari comes from out of the country, she lives in a different country, then I will give this to her. So we're keeping this for now. Out of this drawer is our Dose of Colors Friendcation palette by Desi and Katie, and this is what this one looks like. I love it. This is my favorite shade. My sister-in-law Brenda put me onto it. So there's that shade right there. Unbelievable. This is going to my next Shop My Stash. I've been planning it for a few weeks. I haven't done a Shop My Stash like in 4 to 6 weeks already. This bottom drawer, this is my face palette drawer. And this is also where I keep like my, what is it called? Eyebrow backups and like my mascara backups, sponges, stuff like that. But there's also face palettes and one eyeshadow palette in here. So for my face palettes, we're actually going to keep everything because I love everything that I own, except this one. It's eyeshadow and half a face palette. It's the Into the Balm of Your Hand Volume 2 palette, and I just don't get enough use on it. Although I love this bronzer, I'm willing to let this palette go. And this highlight is underwhelming. Everybody says Mary Lou's like the best, but I don't know. It's just, it's not all that for me. So I'm going to be decluttering this face slash eyeshadow palette. Everything up and let you know what I kept. So I got rid of 12 palettes, and I end up keeping, oh sorry, that's face palettes. We end up keeping 35 eyeshadow palettes, and then I have a few new ones over there in my room. Some that I've already decluttered off camera, and then what else?
A bunch.
And some that are in my Shop My Stash. So if you like this video, kids, do please give it a thumbs up and follow my rest of my declutter series because I'll be posting that pretty soon. I think I'm going with lips next. So yeah, please subscribe, like this video, and I'll see you all in the next video. Take care.